one notebook was not enough, so I had 3. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ahana and here we talk about all things related to stationery, planners, productivity, organization and in general trying to live your best life. And if that interests you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So if the background behind me did make it obvious already, I like to draw. Most of these are my own paintings and I have loved drawing for as long as I can remember. I did lose touch with it for a while, as it happens, like after school. Only got it back in about 2016-2017 when my undergraduation was complete and I was preparing for my MBA entrances. While in school, I was actively involved in art because it was my 6th subject, and those of you from ICSE background would know that you have to give your boards on it. So I practice it pretty religiously, and I'm going to insert some of the pictures that I have drawn during that time. I have been an artist for as long as I can remember, and when I was younger, I was way more frequent with the practice. But as I grew older and as life happened, I kind of lost touch with it. It's been 5 years since, and in those 5 years, I've filled a lot of sketchbooks. And I thought it might be interesting for me to take you through this journey of how I've evolved. I hope you can definitely see my growth through these sketchbooks, and I will just take you through the stories of the times and what I was feeling and why I was drawing these things. So I hope that should be fun. Let's get into it. This was like one of the first notebooks that I started with when I started drawing again, so June 2017. The paper quality is not that great, of course. It's very thin, very low GSM, but I did not paint a lot in this. There are some painting pieces. Mostly I drew a lot of mandalas, and about the same time I was also preparing for like a product design entrance exam, and here all of those practice drawings are also there. Starbucks came to Kolkata and I was very excited about it, so I drew this. More mandalas, more product drawings. This is when I was trying to draw like a realistic fried egg. I did like a lot of conceptualizing for like the questions that were in that exam, practice questions. I tried to do some lettering and try to do some like character design, but all my characters end up looking the same. That's something that I have to work on. I don't know if you have heard about Meiko Chino on YouTube, but she has these really easy to follow along watercolor tutorials. She used to, at least, and I used to follow them religiously because they were a very nice way of like getting back into painting after you've been away for a while. So she had these beautiful drawings and I just followed along to those tutorials, and I made more mandalas. And then I had this whole phase of like recreating photographs in these paintings, so that's what I did. But yeah, this paper did not hold like the water at all. More mandalas and more product drawings, and that's about it. I kind of use this as like a rough for the next notebook that I'm going to show you. One I have here is this brushstroke sketchbook, and obviously the paper is much better GSM and it has a hardcover also. And this was where I actually, you know, started my proper practice in. So these were again probably Meiko Chino tutorials, and I thought this made like a very adorable front page. But then I took a lot of Pinteresty inspirations and I did a lot of drawings here. This, I remember I read Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, and I kind of really wanted to make an image that reminds me of what I felt when reading that book, and this is what came up. This was like the first time that I was trying something. So because I had been in like an art blog sort for so long, I was just trying something different. I did not just want to copy and recreate. So this was like just something to break out of that pattern. And there was this quote which I loved. It said, "You're both the fire and the water that extinguishes it. You're the narrator, the protagonist, the sidekick. You are the storyteller and the story told. You are somebody something, but also you are you." And I loved this quote. I love it. It's one of my favorite ones. I did like a morning routine art journal kind of a thing, like the steps I want to take. This is one of my most favorite paintings till date. This midnight galaxy, foresty night sky kind of a thing. This is something I made after watching Perks of Being a Wallflower. The quote is, "I know these will all be stories someday and our pictures will become old photographs, but right now these moments are not stories. This is happening." I did this the day Stephen Hawking died. Life would be tragic if it weren't funny. Just some patterns, mandalas. This drawing, I remember I did it as part of like Pranita Kochrekar's art challenge, and that also kind of really pushed me into creating art. And she had some challenge that spanned over, I think, April of 2017 or something, and I loved drawing from all of the prompts. I still enjoy drawing from prompts because it gives me just the right kind of push but also enough freedom. This I drew much later. Like, I had this notebook for a very long time. I did not draw as quickly or as much as I would like to, but this I drew sometime during quarantine. So I took this notebook to college as well, like during my MBA, and I painted whenever I got the chance. This is just a waterfall I had seen somewhere. I will link this video if you haven't seen it yet. This was a pretty creative interpretation. We went on a trip to Kerala in 2018 January. This is like a small travel journal version of it, of all the places that we saw and the things that I'll remember from it. And I really like this page. It's like a nice way to capture that entire memory. And yeah, so 21st March of 2018 is when Starbucks came to Calcutta, and clearly this has been one of the highlights of my life. Oh, this Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer cutouts are also from a video which got a copyright claim, but I mean, watch it anyway. I think I made this just because I love Grey's Anatomy and I love the quotes from Grey's Anatomy, and I keep trying to make like artist interpretations of whatever is said. So these boundaries, don't keep other people out, the fence you in, is one of my favorite quotes again, so I put it down. Then there's an old proverb, find your tribe. If you Google it, you'll find it. That quote is also amazing, and it's about friends, so I kind of made the friends thing because the theme matched, so that's why. These are like small comics that I was making during my 100-day art challenge in 2020, and I will link my Instagram down below and you can go check those paintings out. This I tried to make me and my best friend. It's not accurate at all, but yeah, this was just something that I made for her. This was also something that I made for her because both of us are insane Potterheads, and this is and also we love Grey's Anatomy, and this is again like a Grey's coat within a Harry Potter background. This is from some prompt. Again, Grey's, you're sensing a theme here, right? I love Grey's Anatomy. I love everything to do with it, and I really feel like a lot of the quotes that they talk about inspired me a lot. So this one's another favorite. This is just me like trying to sketch out some things for one of the 100 days things. This also, like, I had this whole phase during that time where I was just, reading some quotes, and whatever it made me feel I would draw. And that turned out pretty nice, I would say. This is like a self reflection. I like the descriptions are accurate. The drawing is not, but yeah. This is a very accurate way to describe me during the weekends. I'm just like vegging out and watching YouTube. This is the realest self-reflection ever. These are again parts of the comics which I had drawn, and I kind of put all of them together and made like a comic strip. This is again one of those, I think it was a prompt, and it's like flowers and cheesecake and Paris and the Eiffel Tower and everything. It's kind of like a dream. Everybody wants to go to Paris, like who doesn't? This is something that I recreated from a photograph I had. I was really bad at drawing people at the time, but this again I made from like Kyun na hum tum chale tere mere se raste pe nanga paure. It's like a lyric, right? So I made it from that. This I tried to draw my family. They were not upset, and that is all I will say about this. These were again, I think, from some prawns. These are my friends. We went to this club, and this is one of my favorite pictures of our group. I really wanted to have a food truck. At one point, I was obsessed with the idea of having a food truck. I don't know why, but then I just drew it. This I made for another friend's birthday, and she's one of those people who is like fiercely independent. And this one basically said, we need a Disney princess who believes in life after love. Like all of the Disney stories end like, happily ever after. But of course you'll find love, and that's great. But after that, what do you do? What do you do for yourself? So this is something that I made for her. Comics which make more sense in context. This again I made for another friend. Like she loved this quote, so I kind of did like an artsy version of it. This is an incomplete drawing. This was the road which led to my hostel, and I wanted to make it because I could see it from my window, but this is definitely not how it looked like. It looked so much better. This is Anna and Elsa, although their faces are not great, but yeah. This quote I really like. It says, if you watch the sunset every day, it just becomes 6 p.m. But the funny thing is that this sunset picture that I've drawn is from my campus, and I did see the sunset every day, and it never became just 6 p.m. It was always beautiful. I don't know, people think that it becomes monotonous, but if something's that beautiful, I don't think it ever does. Or maybe you don't stop appreciating it because you actually value it a lot. More mandalas. I did a lot of mandalas. They helped me calm down a lot. It's again some like scenery kind of a thing. This I did at the beginning of 2020. Welcome in the new decade. Who would have known? This is like a femme fatale sort of a drawing. This again stuff that I, kind of found on Pinterest and tried to make it my own. This is a cartoon version of all of my friends, and we went to devour a huge paratha, and that was the comic here. On Instagram, I have posted all of these pictures. Godfather, it's one of my favorites. This one. Then Doom. I was trying to draw Joe from You, here, but it did not work out. So do you know the joke which says waffles are just pancakes with abs? So that is basically what I'm trying to do here. That's it for this notebook. So this notebook lasted me a very long time because mostly in 2018 I did not get a lot of time to draw. In 2019 I started doing it again. It lasted me up until I think like the beginning of 2020, about March, when I came back from college. But when quarantine hit, then we had to pivot because one notebook was not enough. So I had 3. So this was like the first one that I started. This was the first one of 2020, and here I've basically drawn my campus life there, and this was, they wanted this drawing for the yearbook, so I made this illustration like that. And here is just like the ideation for that illustration. It doesn't happen like randomly. This is another discarded one. I was making something like this, but I thought this turned out better, so I keep that. Then I did a bunch of lettering and some pin posters, more mandalas, then like some drawings inspired from some Pinterest image that I had seen. Still more mandalas, Netaji, Indira Gandhi, and just a lot of flowers. This is daffodils from Van Gogh and just like loose leaf flowers. This is insanely relaxing, by the way. If you want to try it, you should. Then just more random drawings. This is supposed to be Simba. I painted a lot. I did not sketch too much, but I painted a lot. This is just me practicing some watercolor mixing techniques. This Kit Kat drawing is very, like I said, the video that got copyrighted, it was about this. It would have been a great ad if Nestle had seen it. This I made in honor of like COVID and all the doctors who were giving their all during that time. It was insane. This again was like one of those Makochino tutorials, this and this. I really liked her tutorials. I think they stopped coming. This is again parts of my campus. I tried to make it like more accurate. These are the parts which everybody loved the most. This is the beginning of my 100-day challenge journey. I don't remember exactly obviously all of the prompts, but oh, this was another exercise I did in like monotone coloring. All of this is made with blue, just like different amounts of water in it, so the shades look different, but I think this looks very pretty. Okay, we have Undertaker, and like I'm just going to flip through these drawings real quick because all of these are on my Instagram, my art account, so I just want to show you. This I drew way before I had seen the series, actually, because I had just read about it when I was younger. But when I saw the series, I absolutely fell in love with it. Like this episode especially was such an intense one. This is like the American Gothic painting, but with Venom and Spider-Man. This is funny. Normal doorway, obviously discarded painting. And this is how this notebook ends. So this notebook, I don't think it completed my 100 days because then I went on to this one. So I dated this. It started in May 19 and ended in April 25th. So obviously I mostly do mandalas. Then this was the comic that has continued here. More comics that I drew during the 100 days that I kept making the characters here and then just stitching it together later in some app or the other. This I did the 3 little piggies. Probably some prompt, I don't remember. Again, these were like, I was doing like a lot of story based art. All of it was like pretty creative, like coffee and tea fighting for milk in like a contest. All of this was very new and I did not usually make things like this, but in quarantine I had a lot of time. These are my friends. This is this place here called Habibola and we love going there and I was missing them a lot, so I made this. This is an ideal study space for me, so I really like the aesthetics of here. Maybe it's a little too pink, but yeah. This is like the solar system with mandalas. This is just one of the places that I like to go to in Pune. This is Flurries, obviously famous for their insane breakfast spreads. There's like a lot of like illustration-y work I was doing. This is my school, which I drew the gates of. I was really longing for a vacation, clearly. This was right before Durga Puja. This one is interesting because it's just like staying in touch, you know, not meeting, but staying in touch through the phones. And this one, if you look at the negative space around it, you will realize that here is the queen and here is Snow White, basically, 2 ends of the apple. So very proud of this one. This is just heart blooming. This I made for one of my friends' birthday again. This is a restaurant here in Calcutta. It's called The Daily and it's one of our favorite hangout spots. And here, this is the Mr. Peanut Butter from BoJack Horseman, and she loves dogs. And everything that she likes, basically she likes vanilla tea, and she likes cakes, and she likes salads, oddly, and she loves dogs. So I kind of made this like a mix painting for her. This is global warming, obviously. This is me trying to juggle everything that I want to do. This was something that I wanted to wear for my college farewell, but it did not happen thanks to whatever was going on in 2020. This is like a longing, looking into the mirror, wishing I was going out for that event, stuff like that. So this was kind of difficult to make because it has to be like exactly the replica, right? So yeah, this was tough to me. Oh, then I did a Dalmatian, like, but on a bed, which is my ideal aesthetic. And this is just two people hugging. This is a Halloween special drawing which I made. And oh, this is from Crash Landing on You. If you've seen that K-drama, like, this is the one of the scenes in it. So I love making this one. Scooby, Jesus, Joker and Batman. So this was also kind of a difficult one to make sure that, first of all, they can't look obviously the same, but then again, like, the eyes and nose and mouth should align on the same plane. So that was a little tricky. This one is also a very dear painting to me, and these are basically my friends, and this is a picture that we have. And this is a song that all of us keep playing around each other a lot. So this one reminds me of them a lot. So this is during we had a batch photo shoot day in college. It was one of the last events that we had before we had to come back. Yeah, this is from there. This is my roommate, and she looks pretty accurate. I do not. Yeah, so she video called me one day and I was missing her, so I drew her. This is my morning routine. I finally did like a proper drawing of it, and this was also one of the last drawings in the 100-day challenge which I did in 2020. This dragon was very intricate to draw, but I liked it. I liked making it. This was me after the 100 days challenge is over. Did a lot of art journaling kind of thingies. This I was trying to learn how to draw characters from like a YouTube video, but it was not my vibe. And then I just did more mandalas. This is clearly a wasted page. Then I started doing a series on my Instagram, which was basically combining art and poetry. The particular thing was from the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. This is the interpretation of that. This is an interpretation of the poem Shesher Kobita, which is a Bengali poem, and it's about people parting ways, basically. This is one of Emily Dickinson's poem, and I made this when I was watching the series Dickinson, and that series is hilarious, by the way. I love Haley Steinfeld. This is also from one of the poems which basically talked about, you know, the fleeting nature of today's like gratification and how people are just focused on the wrong things. So that is like my interpretation of this. It was about a poem, I think it's called Fire and Ice. This is Audrey Hepburn and Marilyn Monroe, and I think the prompt was like Grace or something, and they're so beautiful. Then I did another series on my Instagram which was called Sunsets, and I just asked people to send me their favorite sunset pictures. And that worked out really well because, first of all, people take beautiful pictures, and secondly, I had a lot of fun recreating them. So this is one of them. This is from my campus. A friend of mine sent it. People have been to like really interesting places, so all of these are like beautiful sunset pictures. And that's it. And all of these pictures were like, because you are copying from an image, it was pretty difficult to like get all the shades right and everything, because you can't like even mix and touch and see if it's the right shade and stuff. But I really enjoyed it. I really liked making the sunset pictures. So once this 100-day channel was done, we had Inktober. But before that, I really enjoy art journaling, like I have said in my previous videos. And in art journaling, like you basically write what you are thinking, right? So this is like this page of what I was doing during quarantine, having a lot of coffee, me, cult fit, trying to stay healthy, keeping in touch with my friends, drawings here. This is Ratatouille. This page I did with oil pastels, so it looks a little different. The rest of them I mostly painted. This is Sanjeev Kapoor. All of these characters I drew. I don't remember the prompts right now, but I used to just draw this one character at a time. This was inspired by Muhammad Ali, and if you recognize the quote from this picture, then let me know in the comments. Amazing heels. Oh, this I made after watching Scam 1992, like the stock market crash and Harshad Mehta and everything. This is a very accurate depiction of an incident that happened with me in college, where cats had laid kittens in my shoebox and I had to throw away my new shoes because obviously. So yeah, this was a very traumatizing event for me, and thankfully my roommate handled the whole thing and then she told me so. And she knows I was very scared. This is just when you started meeting people. after lockdown, sanitizer, masks and everything. This is me and my mom and my sister. This is my obsession with planners. I wanted to draw planners also, in addition to writing in them. I love pizza. This is a book nook that I would love to have in my house someday. Like very typical travel around the world kind of a illustration. I made this one for Christmas. Very, very festive, this page is. This is yoga. This I just made normally. It's like a line drawing kind of a flower. Like I had shown earlier, the poetry videos that I was doing. So I took like a poem from Rumi and I don't remember all of it. But this is basically what it talked about and like what I felt it talked about after reading the poem. So I made these from that. This is the 7 sins. And there was a poem about that also. So I interpreted that in a way. This is the road not taken in like visual form. Oh, this is daffodils. This is from daffodils. And all the world's a stage. This is written. It's stopping by the woods on a snowy evening. And then I was just like doing some random practice sketching. This I made for Women's Day last year, where empowered women empower women. So this is just a normal sketch. This is also Grey's Anatomy, and one of my favorite songs where Meredith and Christina always have a dance party too is called Where Does the Good Go? And I really like this format of painting, by the way, where you can just like do the Spotify thing at the end and actual image where the image goes. I think it's very cute. This is another like Polaroid form of image that I made after I went on a trip with my best friends in February last year. We went to Darjeeling and this was a photograph that we had and I really loved it. So I made a painting from it. This is a photograph of my campus after dusk. I was doing like a lot of opaque gouache kind of paintings during this time. This is another sunset painting that I really, really like. And people also gave me like not just sunset but also sceneries to paint. So I'm really grateful that they gave me this, their share of these memories. But yeah, this was another painting that my friend asked me to make. So I really like this one as well. And that completes this notebook. That was the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching my art journey develop in the past 5 years through these 5 sketchbooks. And I hope you found something interesting in this video. If you want to follow me along on my art journey, then please follow me on my Instagram. I will link the handle in the description down below. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.